Hey everyone, welcome back to Null Miko channel. Today is March 1st, 2026, and we've got a seriously packed AI news roundup for you. Government power struggles over military AI, China's new humanoid robot standards, AI that can see through walls, using Wi-Fi, smart rings you can literally talk to, and yes, even Burger King's AI that checks if you said please and thank you. Let's get into it. First up, the big geopolitical bombshell in AI. This news comes from Engadget Tech News and was released on February 28, 2026. OpenAI has struck a deal with the US Department of Defense, which some officials are now calling the Department of War in contracts, to deploy OpenAI's models inside the agency's classified network. Sam Altman announced the agreement on X, and he emphasized that two core safety principles are supposedly baked into the deal: no domestic mass surveillance and human responsibility for the use of force, including autonomous weapon systems. So, on paper, OpenAI is saying, we'll work with the military, but we're drawing red lines around mass surveillance of Americans and fully autonomous weapons. Altman says OpenAI will only deploy on cloud networks. Will send engineers to work with the department on safety, and will build technical safeguards so the models behave as intended. This comes right after a major political move against one of OpenAI's key rivals. This next piece of news comes from Unwire.hk and was also released on February 28, 2026. According to Unwire.hk's coverage in Chinese, President Donald Trump posted on Truth Social on February 27th, ordering all US federal agencies to immediately stop using Anthropic's AI technology, including Claude and any Anthropic services. The reason? Anthropic refused to remove guardrails that block the use of its AI for mass domestic surveillance and fully autonomous weapons. The US Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth had previously threatened to label Anthropic a supply chain risk if it didn't loosen those safety limits. Anthropic pushed back, publicly reaffirming that no amount of intimidation from the Department of War would make them support mass surveillance or fully autonomous weapons, and promising to challenge any supply chain risk label in court. Engadget reports that the same compromise contract terms were offered to Anthropic, OpenAI, and xAI. Anthropic said no. OpenAI and xAI said yes. xAI's Grok is already being deployed in classified systems, and now OpenAI joins that club. So we're seeing a clear split. One frontier AI company refusing to cooperate under pressure, and two others agreeing to work with the government under negotiated safety terms. The bigger picture here is that AI safety is no longer just about alignment research. It's now deeply entangled with national security policy, procurement, and geopolitical strategy. Speaking of national strategy, let's jump to China. This news comes from TechNode and was released on February 28th, 2026. China has rolled out its first national level standard framework for humanoid robots and embodied AI. State broadcaster CCTV reported on this new document called the Humanoid Robot and Embodied Intelligence Standard System 2026 edition. TechNote explains that this framework covers the entire industrial chain and life cycle of humanoid robots, from core components and control systems to software, safety, and application scenarios. The signal here is clear. China doesn't just want cool robot demos. It wants a standardized, scalable industry for humanoid robots and physical AI systems. When you put this next to the US military's push to integrate advanced AI models, you can see both superpowers moving to lock in long-term infrastructure. the US on the software and decision-making side, and China building a standards backbone for physical AI in the real world. Now let's move from national strategies to something that sounds straight out of sci-fi, seeing through walls. This story also comes from unwire.hk and was released on February 28th, 2026. Unwire.hk reports on an open source project called Wi-Fi DensePose, led by developer Reuven Cohen. The system uses signals from ordinary Wi-Fi routers, not cameras, to estimate and track human body poses in real time, even through walls. In other words, by analyzing how Wi-Fi signals bounce around a space and are disturbed by human bodies, an AI model can reconstruct a dense pose map of people moving in another room. The project is open source on GitHub, turning a research concept into something developers can actually experiment with. On the one hand, this is a breakthrough for things like search and rescue, elder care monitoring, or gesture-based interfaces without cameras. On the other hand, combined with the government surveillance debates we just talked about, this raises obvious red flags. You now have AI that doesn't need a camera to see you. So we have a theme emerging. AI is rapidly expanding what's observable, controllable, and automatable. And our laws and norms are scrambling to keep up. Let's shift gears to AI in everyday work and some controversy at the drive-thru. This news comes from unwire.hk and was released on February 28, 2026. Unwire.hk reports that Burger King is rolling out an AI voice assistant called Patty, powered by OpenAI and integrated directly into employee headsets. Patty listens to employee customer interactions and checks whether staff are using polite phrases like please and thank you. The stated goal is to improve customer service, but social media reactions were brutal. Many users are calling it dystopian and accusing Burger King of using AI for worker surveillance and micromanagement. Instead of just training and trusting employees, you now have an algorithm constantly judging their tone and word choice in real time. It's another example of the same tech being framed as assistant by companies and surveillance tool by workers. And it's notable that OpenAI shows up here too, from classified military networks to fast food headsets. Now let's talk about AI moving into personal health, specifically through smart rings. We've got two related stories here, both from CNET. The first news comes from CNET Tech News and was released on February 28, 2026. CNET reports that the Oura ring has launched an AI chatbot focused on women's health. If you have questions about topics like menstrual cycles, fertility windows, perimenopause, or sleep patterns related to hormones, Oura's new AI model can answer them using your ring's data plus general medical information. CNET's coverage emphasizes that privacy and access are key concerns, how your sensitive health data is stored, what's processed on device versus in the cloud, and whether this AI is available to all users or only certain subscription tiers. It's a big step toward turning wearables from passive trackers into interactive health companions, but it also raises questions about medical accuracy, liability, and data protection. The second health story also comes from CNET Tech News and was released on February 28, 2026. CNET reports that the Luna ring has become the world's first smart ring you can actually talk to about your health in a conversational way. Instead of just checking an app dashboard, you can ask the ring's AI things like, why was my sleep score low last night? or what can I do today based on my recovery level, and get contextual answers. The promise here is fewer screens and more natural interaction. Your health coach becomes something you speak to, not just something you scroll through. Put together, these two Connect stories show a clear trend. AI is moving from chatbots in your browser to embodied assistants on your body. At the same time, when you combine this with the surveillance concerns around Burger King's patty and Wi-Fi based human tracking, you start to see a spectrum from deeply helpful and intimate to deeply invasive, depending on who controls the data and how transparent they are. Next up, AI assistants in your phone, but with a twist from China's consumer tech ecosystem. This news comes from TechNode and was released on February 28, 2026. TechNode reports that at MWC 2026 in Barcelona, ZTE is debuting the Nubia M153 smartphone, featuring a technical preview of ByteDance's Doubao AI assistant. The show opens on March 2nd, and this will be one of the headline AI phone demos. And ByteDance and ZTE had already announced in December 2025 that limited engineering units of the Nubia M153 would ship with Doubao, but now we're seeing a broader preview. This is TikTok's parent company moving more aggressively into full-stack AI assistants, integrated directly at the device level. Combine that with China's new national standards for humanoid robots, and you see a pattern. Chinese firms and regulators are aligning around AI that is both embodied, like robots, and embedded, like system-level phone assistants. Speaking of companies under pressure, let's swing back to OpenAI. This time for internal ethics and governance. This story comes from unwired.hk and was released on February 28, 2026. Unwired.hk reports that OpenAI has fired an employee for allegedly using confidential company information to place bets on prediction markets like Polymarket. The staff member is accused of leveraging insider knowledge of OpenAI's plans or capabilities to profit, reportedly earning over 130,000 Hong Kong dollars, which is around the mid four-figure range in US dollars. This is essentially insider trading, but for prediction markets instead of stocks. For a company already at the center of geopolitical AI deals and safety debates, this raises serious questions about internal controls, information leakage, and how frontier AI labs manage the extreme power of the information they hold. And finally, let's talk about viral AI content and how it's warping what we think is real. This news comes from Mashable Tech News and was released on February 28, 2026. Mashable reports on the phenomenon of Punch the Monkey, an animal that has become the unwitting star of a wave of viral videos online. A lot of these clips that people share and adore are not real recordings, they're AI-generated videos. Mashable explains that there are telltale signs viewers can use to spot the fakes: weird motion artifacts, inconsistent lighting or shadows, impossible camera angles, or subtle anatomical glitches. The article highlights that while many of these videos seem cute and harmless, they raise bigger issues about consent, animal exploitation in synthetic media, and the erosion of trust in what we see online. When you connect this back to everything else we've talked about today, you get a pretty stark picture. AI is mediating what governments see, what employers hear, what our bodies tell us, and even what we think we're watching for fun. So to recap the themes, from Engadget and Unwire.hk, we see AI becoming a battleground between the US government and frontier labs, with OpenAI and xAI cutting deals under contested safety terms and Anthropic refusing to budge on mass surveillance and autonomous weapons. From TechNote, we see China formalizing national standards for humanoid robots and showcasing Doubao-powered smartphones, signaling a push towards standardized, large-scale embodied and embedded AI. From Unwired.hk's coverage of Wi-Fi dense pose and Burger King's patty, we are watching AI push the boundaries of surveillance. Through walls and inside workplaces, often framed as assistance but perceived as control. From Connect's reports on the Oura Ring and Lunar Ring, AI is becoming a conversational health partner, potentially empowering users but also centralizing some of the most intimate data we have. From Unwired.hk's story on the OpenAI employee and Mashable's piece on Punch the Monkey, we see how AI's power and opacity create new ethical pitfalls. Insider information being monetized on prediction markets, and AI-generated media distorting our sense of reality. If you want to dive deeper, you can check out all the original reporting and gadget tech news for the OpenAI Defense Department deal. Unwired.hk for the Trump order on Anthropic. Wi-Fi dense pose, Burger King's patty, and the OpenAI employee case. TechNote for China's humanoid robot standards and the Nubia M153 with Doubao. Connect Tech News for the Oura and Lunar Smart Ring AI features, and Mashable Tech News for the Punch the Monkey investigation. That's it for today's AI Roundup for March 1st, 2026. If you found this helpful, make sure you're subscribed to Null Miko channel so you don't miss the next wave of AI news. Let me know in the comments which story you think will have the biggest long-term impact: military AI, humanoid robots, health wearables, or AI surveillance in everyday life. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.